Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's talk about a situation that is a total diagnostic nightmare, something that can stump even the pros. You get in your car and your dashboard just lights up like a Christmas tree. The car won't start, and you're looking at a list of error codes that make absolutely no sense together. But what if all that chaos, all those blinking lights are all pointing to one single hidden culprit? Let's dive in. Okay, first things first, and I really need you to hear this. If your car is showing the symptoms we're about to go through, this is the most important piece of advice you're gonna get. Do not turn that key. Don't even try to crank it over. We're dealing with a really serious electrical fault, and trying to start the engine could take a pretty simple fix and turn it into thousands of dollars of catastrophic damage. Seriously. So, this is the mess the car's computer is throwing at you. It's saying there are faults with the fuel temperature sensor and the fuel rail pressure sensor. Then it's screaming that the system is too lean, which just means there's way too much air and not enough fuel, which is really bad for your engine. And, just for good measure, a specific cylinder is misfiring. Now, your first thought is probably, wait a minute, how can 3 different sensors and a fuel problem all just die at the exact same time? And you'd be right to be suspicious. This is no coincidence. Okay, let's get into the detective work here, because there's usually one last piece of the puzzle, one final code that doesn't just add to the confusion, but actually unlocks the whole mystery. It's the key that connects all of these other random-seeming failures. And there it is, P0200, injector circuit malfunction. This, my friends, is the smoking gun. This code isn't telling us an injector is dirty or clogged. No, it's screaming that there is an electrical problem with the whole circuit that powers all of the fuel injectors. And that one word, electrical, completely shifts our focus from individual parts to the system that controls them all. So let's just think about this logically for a second. On the one hand, you could believe that the fuel temp sensor, the fuel pressure sensor, and the entire injector power circuit all decided to fail independently at the exact same moment. I mean, the odds of that are just astronomical. Or, what if one single part that supplies power and control to all 3 of those things is the real problem? Now that sounds a whole lot more likely, doesn't it? So with this new clue, we can stop chasing all these different symptoms, and we can go after the mastermind behind this whole electrical conspiracy. We're about to pull the mask off the one single part that's responsible for this entire cascade of failures. So here's the million-dollar question. What single component has its hands in everything? What can mess with the fuel sensors, the injectors, and cause lean conditions and misfires all at the same time? Meet your culprit, the fuel pump driver module, or FPDM. Now, this isn't the fuel pump itself. Think of it more like a small computer. It's mission control for a huge chunk of your fuel system. It runs the fuel pump, it sends power to the injectors, and it supplies the voltage to those exact sensors that are freaking out and throwing codes. It's the central hub, and it's failed. Okay, now for the really interesting part. Let's map out exactly how this one little failure creates so much chaos. You see, it's not random at all. It's a totally predictable domino effect, and once you understand it, you've cracked the case. Here's how it goes down. First, the FPDM fails inside. It develops an electrical short. Second, it starts sending out garbage, unstable electrical signals to everything it's connected to. Third, the parts that rely on it, the injectors and sensors, immediately recognize this bad signal and trigger those electrical fault codes we saw. And finally, because the injectors are getting bad instructions, you get the real-world symptoms. The engine runs lean and starts misfiring. See? Every single code is a direct result of that one failure. Remember that do not start warning from the beginning? Well, this is why it's so critical. A bad FPDM can send crazy voltage spikes that can totally fry your main engine computer. We're talking over $1,000 right there. It can burn out all of your fuel injectors. That's another $1,500. And that's not even mentioning the risk of serious engine damage from running lean, or the very real fire hazard you get from electrical shorts in a system that's full of gasoline vapor. Okay, that was the scary part. But the good news is, now that we know the real problem, the fix is actually surprisingly simple and cheap. So let's get to the action plan. These are your immediate next steps, and they are non-negotiable. First, get the vehicle towed. Second, Disconnect the battery right away to stop any more electrical damage. Then, you or your mechanic need to find the FPDM. It's usually hidden away in the trunk, under the back seat, or behind some trim. And often, the best first test is the simplest. Just look at it and smell it. Any sign of water damage, corrosion, or that very specific burnt electronics smell is often all the proof you need. And I cannot say this loud enough. The single most common mistake here is for someone to see the lean codes and immediately replace the fuel pump. That is a $400 plus mistake, easy. The fuel pump is almost certainly fine. It's just a victim of the FPDM's bad signals, not the cause of the problem. You have to fix the FPDM first. Let's just look at the money involved. It really puts things in perspective. If you diagnose this right, you're most likely just replacing the FPDM. The whole job is probably going to be somewhere between $200 and $350. But if you misdiagnose and start just throwing parts at it, a new fuel pump, new sensors, you are easily looking at a bill over $1,000, maybe $1,200, and you still might not have fixed the original problem. Let's boil that down to a single number. Knowing what you know right now, understanding this chain reaction can save you over $800. That's the real power of getting the diagnosis right the first time. So here's the bottom line, the one thing you need to remember. All of that chaos, the 6 error codes, the car not starting, the risk of massive damage, it's all being caused by a single, pretty inexpensive part. The entire repair strategy boils down to one simple rule. Replace the fuel pump driver module first, period. And that really brings us to our final takeaway. The whole point of this is to arm you with knowledge. Don't ever be afraid to be an advocate for your own car. Take this information, show this to your mechanic, and just have a conversation about it. It'll save them a ton of diagnostic time, and it will save you from paying for parts you just don't need. The path forward is crystal clear. Check the FPDM and replace it first.